my watch.
Hello and welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Melanie from Per Daisy Reviews.
Yay.
Now, I've said this before. I'm a student of Melanie's, and she's teaching me all about the good Indian films to watch that aren't necessarily always brand new, because I'm seeing a lot of the new releases. So I'm love going back and seeing some of these actors I've only seen in some new movies and seeing some of the early work. It's been really super educational, and I'm starting to get some of the references that I missed seeing the current films and knowing, their stardom level and how people react to them.
Right.
And speaking of stars, okay, Surya. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so
I mean, that's why it was so extraordinary seeing him in more villainous roles recently, because he is the sweetest of sweet. And this movie showcases exactly how extremely talented, because it's not just a double role, it's a triple role.
3 roles, very different. He had
different.
to modulate all of that. And he was interacting with himself a lot, which was also God.
Yeah.
So my first experience with Surya was Vikram. So I didn't know what I was seeing at the time, and now I have a whole new appreciation. So of course it's that infamous, we did a reaction to the infamous scene of him coming in his Rolex at the end, which is just a blowaway scene on any level. Now has a whole extra level of cool factor, because knowing this actor and who he is, that was crazy.
Right. Exactly.
I was like, what? Oh my God. I would have been just screaming seeing him if I'd seen these movies before. I've been like, oh my God. So that I love, like, goosebumps thinking about that scene. So that's one of my favorite entry scenes ever in any film ever. So then I saw Jabeem, very different. So I was like, oh, I want to see more of his work. And I saw that great movie, but did not see him in Rolex at all. Like, this is a whole different actor. Did not see it. Then we saw this, and like, there it is. I'm seeing a little bit of that range of like, yes, he totally pulled off Rolex because he has that in him. So 24.
I mean, he does it all in this movie.
Oh, he does everything. It was insane.
I mean, he's a romantic, sweet hero, and he is a crazy villain. He's just everything.
He's everything. And so this movie is basically kind of a time travel movie, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's all wrapped around this watch that the scientist has invented. We call him Scientist Surya. Yeah. So it has a great opening scene.
Surya. Yeah.
It's actually, Dad Scientist Surya. Anybody who's watching, this is one of those movies I would recommend to people, because it's such an easy entryway, because that opening scene is blow away great, right? It's so surprising and so glossy and so great. So this is a steampunk movie. That because we have a watch that looks pure steampunk. It's got these kind of big
gears and
complicated gears, and then his lab was super steampunk with lots of old fashioned looking wrought iron, and
even the little sort of Superman cradle thing.
I love the pod.
Yeah, the little baby cradle thing had just it was very steampunk with the pacifier or whatever that came up.
The insane looking looked like a huge syringe, and you're like, what is happening? Oh, it's just a pacifier. I love it's like pacify. It has this little label of what it's doing. Pacify the baby. Stick this big arm in its face. So funny. So he's adorable and nerdy. He smiled. I almost didn't recognize him in that role. He was so different. So he has this glow of happiness and nerdy scientist. He's inventing things. He's finally cracked the case of this watch that's been so he's figured out that the watch can do things, right? So just in time for his wife to be like, spend more time with us and the baby. And he's like, I love you and everything will be fine. This great, beautiful opening scene of a scientist at the peak of his scientisty. Then the big villain appears, and it's Surya again.
Evil
and I gotta say, that's the Surya. He looked really good. Really super handsome villain.
He was having a crazy fun time playing the villain in this.
So good. He had just a suit, the dark suit, looks super completely different from the kind of disheveled, wacky scientist, mad scientist. So I love that contrast. You got to have in the opening scene, you got to see this right away. They did not hold back.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God. And it was harsh. That opening scene was
Yeah, Nithya Menon plays the wife. We just saw her. I mean, we've seen her in OK Kanmani together, a Tom
Yes.
film.
Mhm.
She's also known for
Yeah.
her Malayalam films, and so so then she was in Mersal again, like the flashback wife. Right?
Exactly. She gets to play the other one.
Right. So, but I mean, kudos to her. Like, I mean, she plays that devoted mother, devoted wife.
Mhm.
It's not. She doesn't have a lot to work with in this movie, but she completely sells it. Completely
She
sells
does.
it.
She does. And she's actually very critical to some machinations of the plot. Like you
Yeah.
think she's in it for one brief second in the beginning, and then
Right.
harshly is killed off. Shockingly killed off because then you got a baby, and
Yeah.
we're. I will say these are spoilers,
Yeah.
but it happens in the
The
first
movie came
5
out in
minutes.
2016, but yeah.
Oh, I know exactly. So, but I consider it not too much of a spoiler when it's an opening scene. It's like, okay, if you guys can't get past the opening scene, spoiler. But anyway, it's great. So we have this great fight scene. He's trying to find, the Surya is trying to escape his evil twin brother thing. We aren't even sure what he is yet, or are we sure? I'm not sure when they tell us that
Yeah.
his relation.
I mean, we don't even know what this invention necessarily can
Yeah,
do.
no, not yet.
But we suddenly we have the appearance of the villain who knows what it can do and
Yeah.
wants it.
Yeah, wants it because apparently he's been doing some of those shenanigans. So, shenanigans seems like a good word for this movie because it has this sort of lively, fun,
Zany.
yeah, it's zany, but it has a lot of shocking violence though. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the kind of
Yeah.
thing that seems almost like it could be a family movie, and then
Kathy sent me this message in the middle of it. She's like, everything's going fine until someone loses an arm.
Exactly. Wow, everything's so fun. All of a sudden there's a severed arm. Well, that's nice. Very graphically shown, by the way, just like horrible. And yeah, the precedes another horrible scene. But that was in a way, it's what we always love about Indian films is they will go everywhere all at once. Just they'll give you everything, and it's like, yeah, this is a fun family movie, but yeah, we'll give you some gore. Why not? Let's do it. So they did, and it was awesome. So then it transitions to
present day,
yeah,
right? Of the film. The baby is grown up,
that's right.
and
Looks just like Surya.
and just looks
Just
exactly
like
like
him.
him. This is Mani Surya, who owns a watch repair shop.
Watch mechanic. He's a watch mechanic, as he kept telling everyone.
Mechanic. Okay. That's right. And lives with his mother and in very modest surroundings, and has no clue of his past, and has no clue. And I absolutely love that this most vital thing was used as a doorstop and to pound nails. That was one of the best things. Like this, this thing that the mother was entrusted with on the train right before scientist dad dies.
Yeah.
That has this very cool 24 logo on it. It's just used for everything.
Like I don't know what it does. It doesn't work.
Pry this thing open. You got that thing?
This thing's broken. I don't know what it is. Let's just put it over here and store it. I don't know. Let's make it useful. So funny. And he's kind of a doofus. Like he's kind of clueless. He's just kind of like, yeah, mom, whatever. And he's just kind of like, a near do well. We'll say he does, some watch repair, but he doesn't really. He's not a serious person.
Yeah. I mean, he's just kind of incorrigible. You can just tell like he's. And so comes in Samantha Prabhu, who is one of my favorite actresses. She's
so good.
Known probably more for Telugu cinema, but I think you saw Super Deluxe.
Oh God, I love that movie.
She had a part where she played Fahad Fazl's wife.
One of the best sequences in that, I thought. The great, like people trying to cover up a crime element that I love. Now we're focusing on the son. The scientist has died. We don't know where the villain is at this point. We're just kind of catching up with the son's life, from what I remember. Now, when do we get back to we see we start getting into the cycle of like the villain is in a wheelchair.
Right. He wakes up from a coma. So the professor dad had there was like that train accident that he causes or whatever to stop the villain and saves the baby that he's handed off to a stranger.
Yeah.
And the I'm frozen again. Sorry, I keep mentioning it. Like I hope you have a good recording, Kathy. Oh my god.
We're
So but he's been in a coma for all these years, and then so he wakes up. I don't know how many years have passed, 25 years or whatever it's
right.
been, and so then he wants to use the watch, find where the watch is now,
Right.
and so he puts a newspaper ad in,
Oh,
and
that's right. That's right.
and so modern day
For a
Monty
ton of
Surya,
money.
the son, has the watch, knows its ability, knows that this guy wants it, and creates a
Mhm.
duplicate of it. But the reason
Genius.
everybody else has also tried to make a duplicate to win the reward.
That's right.
But the thing is, no one else knew what the back looked like,
That's
which
right.
Surya, because he has the original one, does.
Which was
But
a way to flush
also,
him out.
evil Uncle Surya knows what the abilities of the watch are. So he's looking at the security footage to see,
Mhm.
shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
And then we have Surya losing an arm and being shoved out of a plate glass window,
Terrifying scene. So nasty. Yeah. Then and
yeah.
that was the thing too, like you're seeing some really terrible deaths, some bad outcomes, like, ending up in a wheelchair completely, like, which in a way was kind of, pertinent because he was so full of rage and he was felt so helpless, and so now he really is that. Now he is
Oh,
helpless.
right,
He's in a
yeah,
wheelchair. So kind of karmically, he became his greatest fear, which was being, unable to do much. So, and he looked terrible.
yeah,
So we have that. So he wants to go back in time so he can be back before then and be like, vital again. He doesn't want to be in a wheelchair and in a
right.
hospital bed. So he's trying to get his reason for getting back the watch is a very understandable one. But we knew it was
Well,
only to do other terrible things.
I think there's multiple levels, like, right? I mean,
Way more. So one is he wants to get his legs back,
he wants his legs to work again, but he
but he
also wants all the
also
power of it.
that's
Yeah,
right. He knows that he's like the guy in Back to the Future who is super abusive, he has it and he abuses the Back to the Future power by going back and just being, a terrible person.
yeah,
So this guy, and technically if you had this kind of power, you could rule the world. You could do anything.
right,
Like it's
right.
crazy. So he knows that. And of course there's going to be the people who don't want it for the evil and people who want it for evil. That's why we love these movies because they have both sides.
Yeah.
So I love that part of it. So now we have they're trying to, in a way, the newspaper ad, they were offering a ton of money for this watch. They knew they'd flush out the real person, possibly. They had no intention at all of paying the person. They just wanted to get the watch back, and then whoever has it, bye.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
no, and what I liked is that he knew that. He goes, I know they're just putting this ad in here to try and get me to come forward. That's what this is
Yeah.
about. So I like that he, like you said, he knew how the watch worked. He knew what the back looked like. So he made a fake one, which was great because now you've got, okay, we have two watches in play now. Who has the real watch? That was another like super stressful part of the movie. Is like, oh my God, is it the real one or not? Because if it's not, we're all screwed. So,
Right. And it had a battery that could die as well. Oh my God.
yes,
That
you have to
added
charge
some
it.
tension to some scenes too. Oh man.
Yes, that's right. I know it's like, and we all know that feeling of like, oh no, my phone's about to die. So it was also very stressful. And I like
Yeah.
that they played with that a little bit in the beginning when he cut power to the house because he knew that he was going to have to charge the watch. That was another. See, he's a smart villain. Um, so lots of just glorious set design, fantastic fun, just virtuoso acting from
Yeah.
Surya, who is playing so many roles all at once, roles in the same room. Being able to calibrate that performance to
How about that one
small.
scene where he's pretending to be his uncle that he thinks is his
Oh yeah,
father in the wheelchair, and
yeah,
then overhears the minion talking to him and realizes this isn't really my dad.
yeah.
This is my uncle who has an affair. Like, like
So
layers on layers.
complicated. I didn't know how an
Layers
actor
on layers.
works his way around that in his head to try and figure that out because he does that kind of thing where even if he's looking like he's the bad guy, there's something about his eyes or whatever's happening, it's not. Like he's able to project a moment that clues you in. And I don't know how actors do that. I can't even tell
Yeah.
you what it was, but it was so good. Like, and you were fooled sometimes and then not other times. And oh
Yeah.
yeah, so many.
I just
So
It's just a tour de force for Surya acting throughout this. You know, I mean, he owns this movie. He's the heart of this movie. It's in so many different ways, and it has all in the second half has all these emotional, heart-wrenching things because you know he doesn't even realize how because there's I'm watching it again. I noticed his mother teases him or is like, I carried you for 10 months for you to act like this kind of phrase.
Yeah.
So how would he ever know he was adopted? Right. And then he finds out the truth that his mother just took this baby from this stranger, but then that completely changed her life because her family threw her out, assuming she'd had an illegitimate baby at college.
So sad.
And so it completely changed it. I mean, she was, she didn't regret her choice at all. Obviously, she missed her family. But then to come find out that the girl that Surya meets, her entire family goes through this period of silence.
Yep.
Because they're all mourning the loss of what turns out to be Surya's mother. Like, I mean, like, I was like, oh my gosh.
So complicated.
So complicated.
See, time travel is really hard to keep track. So I love too when they're on the train and he throws this pod at this woman in the seat. Just take it. It's a baby. And she has this big, huge contraption. She's like, what? what do I have here? And then realize there's a baby in it. But imagine someone going, here you go. And you see this thing like you've never seen before, like this weird contraption. That was so funny just to see her in there. Okay. What a great person to just take that and take care of that baby. That was crazy.
Yeah.
So you knew she was good.
I mean, I didn't write down the name of the actress that plays his mother. I've seen her in several things, but yeah, she was great. But
so cute.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So I mean, it has all this emotional things. Like, who wouldn't want it? Then you think, oh, I found my father, right? I mean, the emotional things that Surya goes through, realizing, oh wait, this isn't. Not only is it my father, it's the man that killed my father. He's my uncle. Well,
it's so bad. I know it's so bad.
Really, I mean, bottom line is, I just love this movie so much.
So good, so glossy, so fun. So
I mean, I have seen Surya in so many different films. He's an excellent actor. This is more just a pure fun movie. He has done extremely dramatic roles. Like, he's a tour de force. Okay.
Yeah.
Still not have seen his Gaijini, which that's something that Kathy and I are going to do together in the future. But I mean, he's done action roles. He's done romantic roles. He's done more dramatic. But this one is just pure fun, and it's also so rare to have sci-fi in an Indian film, right? And like you say, it's kind of a steampunk, and so that's why, like, we have the upcoming Prabhasram Kalki 2028 or whatever that one is. Not 20. Yeah. It's got to be, I don't remember, whatever it is.
Very far in the future. More time travel.
It looks more like Hollywood sci-fi. Let's just put it that way. Right?
Kind of like Dune sci-fi.
Not steampunky sci-fi like this.
Yeah. Not fun.
So, but anyway, it's just like a rare special thing to have just a super fun time travel sci-fi movie in Indian cinema. And so that alone. And also the music is by A.R. Yeah, the music is by A.R. Rahman. Like, I think he saves his best stuff for Tamil cinema. Like, I mean, it's a fun soundtrack too. I mean, anything by A.R. Rahman is. But anyway, I was happy to share this one with you and show you another three sides of Surya.
Speaking of three sides, we have a poster that says all three sides.
Yeah.
And guess who makes the first side? The evil one, because that's where he looked his hottest.
He does look hot.
Does look very hot as the evil guy in his cool suit and everything.
Look how much having that very trimmed evil, it's not a goatee, like beard, transforms his face compared to the ones in the back of the scientist dad and the son.
I know, so bad. And it looks like they like the classic pose. If you want to look like the evil guy and want the intense thing, is put your head down and your eyes up, and that's the pose that gives you the evil. That's what you want everyone to do, because everybody looks good doing that. Just everybody. So every time I do a photo shoot, everyone has to do this pose. So it's like, and even Surya looks good at doing. And then we have I assume this is the son,
Yeah,
right?
I think
Not the
it's the
scientist,
son.
because scientist
Yeah.
has he looks a little goofier.
He had the glasses. Yeah.
That's right.
So,
And he has the leather jacket and the
but
cool T-shirt.
this is kind of like the blue. It reminds me of Tron. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a kind of sci-fi video game inside the computer movie from Hollywood.
Totally. Yeah, I
But
know.
that's
True.
exactly what this reminds me of. Is that kind of that blue, that electric blue. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely get the sci-fi vibe from this one. And these are all just random posters. Then we have the happy moment before the tragedy. Yeah, this is the mad scientist with his beautiful wife, and they're all having this cute little. They were very cute together too. They were very very fun.
He just
And
looks
then,
like a little professor there.
he does. He's got
Little
his little sweater
professor.
on.
Yeah.
So funny. Then we have more of an action. Again, the bad guy in the front because he looks the damn cool. I love the leather vest. Yes, to that.
Yeah.
And then we have what is that on the right? I don't recognize that character. Is that supposed to be the wheelchair guy? I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know.
That's not as good as the other posters. This is a little like they just wanted to put in some action. So that's what they did.
Right.
And then we have again just solo. This is a poster I saw when I first heard about this movie. Was this one, and I was like, "Oh, 24. Is he like Jack Bauer? I don't know." It's like the Indian version of Jack Bauer. And then we have just a different color palette. So they were playing around with palette in the same shoot, the same pose. I guess he probably did the special shoot as this character because that's one we keep seeing over and over again. He's looking at camera.
But I mean, we see the gun in his hand, although it kind of almost looks photoshopped into his hand. To be honest,
it probably was. Yeah, it looks like a body double hand stuck on there. Yeah, he probably just had his hands down, and he doesn't have the glove on that hand either. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I do love that blazer over the leather vest thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that little strappy thing coming down, whatever that is. That's good. Very cool. Good wardrobe. Great look.
I like the logo of the 24 too.
Yeah, the 24 is cool.
The logo itself is very cool.
Way they overlaid. That's really
and
smart.
They used that in the movie itself, like it was that box that became.
That's right.
That held the watch, right? It was the 24 project or whatever.
I love when they actually take it.
Right?
I like when they take stuff from the movie and actually can apply it to the poster. It's not that easy. But that one it was perfect.
Yeah. I just love this movie so much. And
really
Surya is just I hope he is a really nice guy because he seems like he is.
He just seems so nice.
But he also he has his own production company. I think I told you Karti, who you know from Pani and Salvan, is his younger brother, and his wife is Jyotika, and so they've done his production company. You know, he's made films for both his brother and his wife for them to star in, or them together, or whatever. But you know, I really admire him as an actor, though. I think he's one of the finest actors. So.
Yeah, this is a great way to see like what he can really do. But I do tell everyone, watch Vikram and just see this guy in the last scene. It's totally.
But now you appreciate how everybody was losing their shit.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, this is not what he usually does. I'm like, who is this guy? And then now I'm like, oh god, now I get it. Oh,
yeah, because the Mani character, the son, is more his usual shtick, right?
Yes.
Like the sweet romantic hero guy.
He's just a nice guy. And it's like, not when he's not being nice. Yeah, he was great in that. So good. It totally sold me. And he agreed. That's just a great opening scene for him.
So this director has done probably his most famous film, though, is the film that he did just before this one. It's called Manam. And that's one that in the future you and I hope we'll watch together. And it's about, it also has a supernatural element where you have a grandfather, then the father, and then the grandson, you know, grandfather, father, son. And it's played by real life actors who were the three generations.
Oh, that's cool.
And they switch bodies.
Oh my God, that's great.
And so it's just it's heartwarming, wonderful. Anyway, but so now you've already seen this is just a super fun film. The previous film won many awards and everything for this director. So you have that to look forward to in the future.
Yay! As my education continues. Pardays. thank you so much for again being on my channel with this. Be sure and check out Per Daisy Reviews or Melanie that works her magic, and she's on all the social medias. You'll find her there too. Per Daisy YT on Twitter.
X, whatever the hell.
I know. I sort of run out of steam on X. What's the other one?
Yeah.
There's
I'm on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram,
there's so many.
all of those.
I keep hoping this one will finally just rise up and we can use one. So, all right, you guys. So we'll catch you next time and see you later. Be sure and comment, like, and subscribe. All right. Bye.
Bye.
It would be funny to show this. You're seeing yourself back in time. Oh my god, it's so funny. I can't tell. Like, where did you leave and come back? Are we back? Are we catching up to live?
That was the part of me watching it.
Oh my god.